So in this lecture, we will further discuss about polarization, about the various methods of producing the polarized light. Now in the previous lecture, we discussed about the various types of polarized light. So now first of all, we are going to do a little bit of summary what we did in the previous lectures. So first is linearly polarized light. So first of all, what we did was the concept that the electric field at any point in space and at any instant of time, let's say at this point in space and at any time t, it looks something like this. So this electric field, so taking the convention that this is the x-axis and this one is the y-axis, so this electric field at any point in space and at any instant of time, this can be resolved into two perpendicular components. One will be the Ex component and another will be the Ey component. So this electric field, this actual electric field can be assumed to be made up of two electric fields, two orthogonal electric fields which are superimposed on each other, and this electric field is sinusoidal. So this electric field Ex and Ey, they will also be sinusoidal functions of time. So now the phase difference between these two electric fields will decide what type of polarized light we will get. So firstly, if the phase difference is not constant at all, if the phase difference between Ex and Ey is not at all constant, it will give us the unpolarized light. So when the phase difference is not constant, it will give us unpolarized light. Then if the phase difference between the two orthogonal electric fields which superimpose on each other, if this phase difference is equal to 0 or it is equal to pi, 2 pi, 3 pi or so on, when this happens, the net electric field that we will get, it will oscillate along a straight line. So that will give us a linearly polarized light. Next, when the phase difference between these two electric fields is equal to plus minus pi by 2. So over here also you will have plus minus values. So for circularly polarized light, the phase difference between the two orthogonal electric fields is equal to plus minus pi by 2. And with the additional condition that the amplitudes of the two orthogonal electric fields are exactly equal to each other, because Ex was assumed to be equal to E1 cos of omega t and Ey was assumed to be equal to E2 cos of omega t plus delta. So E1 and E2, these are the amplitudes of these two orthogonal electric fields. So if E1 is equal to E2 and the phase difference between the two electric fields is equal to plus minus pi by 2, in that case this resultant electric field, it will rotate periodically and in the form of a circle. So the tip of the electric field, it will draw a circle. So therefore it will generate circularly polarized light. Now circularly polarized light, it can be divided into two types. The first one is the counterclockwise direction, that is the electric field is rotating in the counterclockwise direction. So that will be called as the L state, or you can say left circularly polarized light. If the electric field, it rotates in anti-clockwise direction, in the counterclockwise direction, then it is called as left circularly polarized light. Then if the electric field rotates in the clockwise direction, that is towards your right, it is called as right circularly polarized light. Now this L state and R state, it completely depends upon the point of view. So if you are viewing the EM wave from the point of view of a receiver, so let's say this is the x-axis, this is the y-axis, and z-axis will be out of the paper. It will point out of the paper. Then the electric field, let's say it rotates in anti-clockwise direction in this manner. It rotates in anti-clockwise direction, but you are viewing it as a receiver. You are viewing it from the point of view of a receiver. The electric field is rotating in anti-clockwise direction, so you will call it as the L state. You will call it as left circularly polarized light. But if you will view this same electric field which is rotating in the anti-clockwise direction from the top of the paper, if you view this same electric field from the back side of the paper, or you can say from the point of view of the source. So if you view it from the point of view of the source, this same electric field will appear to you that it is rotating in the clockwise direction. So from the point of view of the source, you will call it as the R state or right circularly polarized light. So L state and R state, it completely depends upon your point of view. But you have to take the same convention everywhere. For example, if you are viewing this EM wave from the point of view of a receiver, so throughout the experiment you have to take the point of view of the receiver only. So if you are viewing it as from the point of view of a source, then you have to take it from the point of view of the source throughout the experiment, and do not change the point of view, because as you change your point of view, the state of polarization will become opposite. So therefore you have to take one convention only throughout the experiment. So the circularly polarized light, it comes when the phase difference between the two electric fields is equal to plus minus pi by 2 and the amplitudes are exactly equal. So if the amplitudes, they are not equal, if the amplitudes of the two orthogonal electric fields are not equal and the phase difference is not equal to 0, pi, 2 pi, 3 pi, 4 pi, so on. So when these are the values of delta, when 0, pi, 2 pi are the values of delta, we get linearly polarized light. So therefore we have taken the exception that the phase difference is not equal to 0, pi, 2 pi, 3 pi, so on, and with the condition if E1 is not equal to E2, then what happens? Then we will get elliptically polarized light, as we had derived the general equation of ellipse in the previous lectures. So in that case we will get elliptically polarized light, that is the tip of the electric field, it will draw an ellipse. Then with the special case when delta is equal to plus minus pi by 2, in this case what happens? In this case we will get an ellipse. In this case also we will get an ellipse. E1 is not equal to E2 in this case also. So in this case also we will get an ellipse, but the difference will be that the ellipse will have its major and minor axis along the coordinate axis. Either it will have major axis along the y-axis and minor axis will be along the x-axis. So that depends upon the values of E1 and E2. If E1 is greater than E2, then the E1 is the amplitude along the x-axis. So if E1 is greater than E2, then the major axis of the ellipse will be along the x-axis. And if E2 is greater than E1, then major axis of the ellipse will be along the y-axis. So this was the third type of the polarized light. Now last one is the partially plane polarized light. So the name only suggests us that what is the definition of this polarized light. So it is partially plane polarized, means for some time interval it will appear to us the EM wave is plane polarized, and after that for some time interval we will see the EM wave changes its orientation, the electric field changes its orientation randomly. So for some time the EM wave will appear to us that its vibrations are in one plane for some time interval. So therefore for some time interval it will appear to us that it is plane polarized, and after that it will appear to us that the electric fields, they vibrate in random directions, means it becomes unpolarized light, and unpolarized light is denoted by the double-headed arrows and a dot. So this represents the unpolarized light. So for some time interval it is plane polarized, then for some time interval it is unpolarized light, and so on. So partially plane polarized light is a mixture of both plane polarized and the unpolarized light rays. So next, what is polarization? Because the name of the chapter is polarization of light. Now what is polarization? So we have discussed unpolarized light. So we discussed unpolarized light. Then we discussed polarized light and we discussed the various types of polarized lights. So now the process of converting unpolarized light into the polarized light, that is called as polarization. So the process of transforming unpolarized light to polarized one this process is termed as polarization of light. Now the device that we use to change unpolarized light to polarized one is called as polarizer. So polarizer is a device which changes natural light, or you can say unpolarized light. So it changes natural or unpolarized light into polarized one. So this device that we use to change unpolarized light into polarized light is called as polarizer. And polarizer has a transmission direction. Every polarizer, it has a transmission direction, or you can say transmission axis or direction. So what is this transmission axis or direction? So let's say the polarizer is something like this. This is the polarizer. Now if a natural light, or you can say unpolarized light, is falling on, let's say this is the unpolarized light that I am drawing, and keep in mind these double-headed arrows, they will always be perpendicular to the direction of propagation of light. So these are the random directions of electric field, and this is the direction of propagation of light. So these arrows, they will always be perpendicular to the direction of propagation of light. So this is the unpolarized light which is falling on the polarizer. So let's say when this unpolarized light falls on this polarizer, the resultant light that comes out of this polarizer is something like this. So this is a plain polarized light. So we will call this device as polarizer, and you can see that the unpolarized light, it has electric field vibrations in every direction, and the resultant electric field, the resultant EM wave that comes out of the polarizer has the vibrations in only one plane. That is, only this electric field has been allowed to pass through the polarizer. So this axis, this direction, the direction along which the electric field is allowed to pass through the polarizer is called as transmission axis or transmission direction. So every polarizer, because polarizer, it converts the unpolarized light into polarized one, so every polarizer will have a transmission axis or direction. Now what we will see, that how the intensity of light varies. How the intensity of the light varies when light is made to fall on the polarizer. So let's say this is the plain polarized light which is made to fall on a polarizer. So actually the function of polarizer is to convert unpolarized light to polarized one. The actual function of a polarizer is to convert unpolarized light into polarized one, but over here we are taking polarized light only. The polarized light is made to incident, it is made to fall on the polarizer, and let's say this is the transmission axis of the, so let's say if this is the transmission axis of the polarizer. So what will happen? The transmission direction is the direction along which the electric field will be allowed to pass through the polarizer. So this whole electric field will simply pass through the polarizer, because the directions of the electric field vibrations, they are along the transmission axis of the polarizer. So these all vibrations, they will pass through. So whatever the EM wave is on the left hand side, the same EM wave will appear on the right hand side. Means there will be no variation in intensity. As you can see in the first case, we have unpolarized light. Unpolarized light, it has vibrations of the electric field in all the directions, but as you pass it from the polarizer, only one component of the electric field passes through, due to which the intensity will decrease. The intensity of the outcoming wave will decrease, obviously, because the incident wave has vibrations of electric field in all the direction, but over here the electric field that we get is the vibrations of the electric field, they are in the single plane. So therefore the intensity obviously will decrease in this process. But over here the vibrations of electric field, they are along the transmission axis, and any electric field, the transmission axis or transmission direction is the direction along which the electric field passes through the polarizer. So these electric fields, they are parallel to the transmission axis, so they will easily pass through the polarizer. So whatever will be the EM wave on the left hand side, the same will appear on the right hand side. So there will be no variation in the intensity will remain the same. Now what happens when we tilt this polarizer? When we tilt this polarizer by some angle, let's say by some theta angle. So what happens in this case? So this electric field, which was earlier, it was parallel to the transmission axis, it easily got passed through the polarizer. But now this electric field vibrations, they are same, but the polarizer has been rotated by theta angle. Therefore the transmission axis now makes an angle of theta with the electric field vibrations. Now the transmission axis of the polarizer, it makes theta angle with the electric field vibrations of the incoming wave. So now this electric field can be divided into two components. This electric field, which makes an angle of theta with the transmission axis, it can be divided into two components. One will be the one along the transmission axis and another will be perpendicular to transmission axis. Now this looks something like this. This is the electric field and this is the transmission axis and this is the theta angle. So the electric field, let's say the electric field is E. Now the component of electric field along the transmission axis will be E cos theta, but the electric field component perpendicular to the transmission axis will be E sin theta. So E sin theta component, which is perpendicular to the transmission axis, will be completely blocked because it is perpendicular to transmission axis. But E cos theta component will be allowed to pass through because E cos theta is along the transmission axis. So over here one will be E cos theta component, which is along the transmission axis, and another is E sin theta component, which is perpendicular to transmission axis, and E sin theta component will be completely blocked by the polarizer. So the type of EM wave that will come out of this polarizer will have electric field vibrations in this direction. So these electric field vibrations, they will be along the transmission axis. So earlier the vibrations, they were something like this. Now the vibrations, they have tilted by theta angle, and here the electric field was E, but over here the electric field is now E cos theta, because only E cos theta component has been allowed to pass through the transmission axis and E sin theta component is completely blocked. So now intensity of the wave that comes out of the polarizer has decreased because cos theta, it varies from 1 to -1. So the intensity of the EM wave will obviously decrease in this case also. So what is intensity? Intensity, it is equal to square of the amplitude of the electric field. So first of all you will take the magnitude of the electric field and then take its square. So that will give us the intensity of the EM wave. So over here in the earlier case, this was the electric field E vector. So what is the intensity of the incoming wave? It will be equal to I0, and that will be E vector magnitude and its square. So this will be the intensity of the incident wave. And when the transmission axis was parallel to the electric field, in the first case, when the transmission axis was parallel to the electric field vibrations, the EM wave, as it is passed through the polarizer when the transmission axis was parallel to the electric field. So in that case, the outgoing wave, the wave that is coming out of the polarizer, had intensity equal to I0 only, because whatever the EM wave was on the left hand side, the same appeared on the right hand side. So there was no variation in intensity. So the intensity I0, the light which was coming out of the polarizer, had intensity equal to I0. But over here, when the transmission axis has been tilted by an angle of theta, the polarizer has been rotated by an angle of theta, that is the transmission axis is making angle theta. Now what happens? Only E cos theta component will be allowed to pass through. So what will be the intensity of the EM wave that is coming out of the polarizer? It will be just E cos theta square. So it will be E cos theta square. That will be the intensity of the EM wave that is coming out of the polarizer, and this is nothing but given by Malus law. So now we will consider a beam of polarized light. We will consider a beam of polarized light propagating along plus z axis. So this is the beam of polarized light. It is propagating along z axis. So let's assume this is the z axis with electric vector E along x axis. So let's say this is the x axis. So electric field vibrations are along the x axis. So this is the x axis. The axis coming out of the paper will be the y axis, because this one is the z axis. So electric oscillations will lie in xz plane. So this is the z axis, this one is the x axis, and this one will be the y axis. So obviously the electric field vibrations, they are occurring in the xz plane. The beam, when incident on a polarizer with its transmission direction parallel to electric field. Now when the transmission axis was parallel to the electric field, what happens in that case? The beam will be completely transmitted with the intensity I0, which will be given by E vector, magnitude and its square. So the beam will be completely transmitted when the transmission direction or transmission axis is parallel to the electric field of the incoming wave. Now when the polarizer is rotated through a theta angle, so let's say this was the axis earlier, now this is the theta angle of the transmission axis with the electric field. So what happens? Intensity of transmitted beam is given by square of transmitted component. Now transmitted component will be E cos theta, as we have already discussed. The transmitted component will be E cos theta, and the blocked component, the component that has been completely blocked, will be E sin theta. So E cos theta will be allowed to pass through. So intensity of the transmitted beam intensity will be given by square of the transmitted component of electric field, and that is nothing but E cos theta. So it will be equal to E cos of theta and its square. So it will be E cos theta. We have taken the magnitude of the component that has been allowed to pass through, and that is E cos theta. So square of E cos theta will give us the intensity of the transmitted beam. So let's say this is the transmission axis of the polarizer, and electric field is vibrating in this direction. So it is making an angle of theta. So obviously E cos theta will be allowed to pass through, and E sin theta will be completely blocked. So what does Malus law states? So Malus law states that the intensity of the plane polarized light transmitted by a polarizer making an angle of theta with the electric vector E of the instant light is E cos theta, or you can say is I0 cos square theta. So how does this comes? So intensity of the transmitted beam is given by E cos theta square, and this can be written as E square into cos square theta. And what is E square? E square is nothing but equal to I0. So it is I0 cos square theta. So this is nothing but Malus law, that is the intensity of the transmitted light is directly proportional to square of cosine of the angle which is made by the transmission direction with the electric field of the incident beam. So this is what Malus law states. So according to it, the intensity of plane polarized light transmitted by a polarizer. So intensity of the plane polarized light transmitted by a polarizer making an angle of theta with the electric vector E of the incident light is given by I0 cos square theta, where I0 is the maximum intensity. Now I0 is the maximum intensity of transmitted light by the polarizer. So I0 is nothing but the maximum intensity of the transmitted light that is passed by the polarizer, and I0 intensity comes when the transmission axis is completely parallel to the electric field oscillations. When the transmission axis is completely parallel, in that case the transmitted light will have intensity given by square of the magnitude of the electric field. So this is the maximum intensity, and if the polarizer is tilted making an angle, any angle theta with the electric field oscillations, the intensity will decrease from I0. So I0 is the maximum intensity of the transmitted light. As we already discussed that when a plane polarized light falls on a polarizer, so the transmission axis allows only that component of electric field to pass through which is parallel to the transmission axis. So only that component passes through the polarizer which is parallel to the transmission axis. So there we saw that the intensity of the transmitted light is directly proportional to cos square theta, because theta is the angle which is made by the vibrations of the electric field of the incident light with the transmission axis. So if this is the electric field which we took, this is the direction of vibrations of the electric field of the incident light, and this is the transmission axis of the polarizer, and they are making an angle of theta. So only the component which is parallel to the transmission axis will be allowed to pass through the polarizer. So the intensity of the transmitted light is directly proportional to cos square theta. So the net intensity is I0 into cos square theta, where I0 is the maximum intensity of the transmitted light which can be passed through the polarizer, and I0 is simply equal to magnitude of the electric field of the incident light and its square. So this is the maximum value of the intensity that can be passed through the polarizer. Now what we are going to discuss is what is the intensity when unpolarized light falls on a polarizer. Now what is unpolarized light? In the case of unpolarized light, the vibrations of electric field, they are in all the directions and they occur randomly. The vibrations of the electric field, they occur randomly in all the directions. So what happens when unpolarized light falls on the polarizer? Now this is the polarizer and this is the transmission axis of the polarizer. So if you take into account, let's say if you take into account this vibration. Now this vibration of the electric field, it makes a certain angle with the transmission axis. Then if you take this vibration of the electric field in the case of incident light, this makes another angle with the transmission axis. And if you take another electric field vibration, that will make another angle with the transmission axis. In the case of plane polarized light, the angle theta was fixed. When plane polarized light falls on a polarizer, the angle theta is always fixed. So the intensity of the transmitted light becomes equal to I0 cos square theta. So this is the fixed intensity. Now the unpolarized light, in the case of unpolarized light, the vibrations of the electric field, they are in random directions, and every electric field will make a certain angle. Every electric field will make a different angle with the transmission axis, because vibrations of the electric field, they are in all the directions. So theta angle is not fixed in this case. So what will be the intensity of the transmitted light when unpolarized light falls on a polarizer? So what will be the intensity of the transmitted light in this particular case when unpolarized light falls on a polarizer? So to solve this problem, we know that the angle theta, it varies. In the case of unpolarized light, the angle which the electric field makes with the transmission axis is different for different plane of vibration. So if you take this plane of vibration, it will make a certain angle. If you take this plane of vibration, it will make another angle with the transmission axis. So the angle theta is different. So what will be the net intensity of the light which gets transmitted? So it will be the average of all those intensities. The net intensity of the electric field, which is net intensity of the light which is transmitted from the polarizer, will be the average of the intensity which is given by this formula. So it will be, net intensity will be average of I0 cos square theta. So this will be the intensity of the light which is transmitted when unpolarized light falls on a polarizer. Because theta angle is not fixed, therefore we have to take the average. Theta angle is not fixed, it changes with the change in plane of vibration of the electric field. So it changes, theta angle is not fixed, therefore we take the average. So the intensity will not be equal to I0 cos square theta, but it will be average of all those intensities. So this formula is valid only in the case when theta angle is fixed, and theta angle is fixed in the case of plane polarized light, because the vibrations, they occur only in one plane. So theta angle is fixed. So this formula is valid only in the case when theta angle is fixed. But in the case of unpolarized light, the theta angle is different for different vibration of the electric field. For different direction, theta angle will be different. Therefore, we take average of all those intensities, and that will give us the net intensity of the transmitted light when unpolarized light falls on a polarizer. So this will be the intensity of the transmitted light in this case. So I0 is constant, I0 can be taken out. Now this symbol is for, this denotes that we are taking the average. So this will be equal to average of cos square theta. And what is the time average of cos square theta? That is equal to 1 by 2. So time average of cos square theta is equal to 1 by 2. So the net intensity of the transmitted light will be equal to I0 divided by 2. So average of cos square theta and average of sin square theta, that is equal to 1 by 2 and 1 by 2. But if you take average of simply cos theta, that will be equal to 0, and average of sin theta over a time period, that is equal to 0. So over here we have average of cos square theta, so it will be equal to 1 divided by 2. So the net intensity of the transmitted light will be equal to I0 divided by 2. So it is fixed. So if unpolarized light falls on a polarizer, the intensity of the transmitted light will always be equal to half of the original intensity. So this I0 is the intensity of the incident light, and the light which gets transmitted will have intensity half of its original. So the intensity reduces to half. So this happens in the case of unpolarized light, and this occurs because the angle theta is not fixed. So therefore we take the average of cos square theta. Now this same case happens in the case of circularly polarized light. In the case of circularly polarized light and in the case of elliptically polarized light. So in the case of circularly and in the case of elliptically polarized light, the tip of the electric field, it rotates in a circular manner and in the form of an ellipse respectively. So in the case of circularly polarized light, the tip of the electric field, it rotates periodically in the form of a circle. So therefore the angle theta in that case is also not fixed. So in the case of circularly polarized light, the angle theta which the electric field makes with the transmission axis, it changes. As the direction of vibration of the electric field changes, the angle theta will also change. So therefore in that case also the intensity of the transmitted light will be equal to I0 divided by 2, and this same case is valid for elliptically polarized light also, because in the case of elliptically polarized light, the tip of the resultant electric field, it rotates in the form of an ellipse. So the angle theta is also not fixed in that case. So therefore in the case of unpolarized light, in the case of circularly polarized light and in the case of elliptically polarized light, the angle theta is not fixed. Theta is the angle which is made by the electric field vibration with the transmission axis. So if theta changes, we have to take the average. So intensity of the transmitted light in all these cases will be equal to half of its original intensity. We are going to look at a small problem that is related to Malus law. So here we are given first polarizer and this one is the second polarizer. So this polarizer and this polarizer, their transmission axis, they make 45 degree with each other. So this polarizer has been tilted by an angle of 45 degree. Now the unpolarized light is made to fall on the first polarizer and we are asked to find the intensity of the transmitted light after the second polarizer. So this is the first polarizer and this is the second polarizer, and in this problem we are asked to find the intensity of the transmitted light after the second polarizer. So what will be its intensity? So we are given that I0 is the intensity of the unpolarized light, and we have to find out the intensity of the transmitted light in this after the second polarizer. So we already know, we have already done that when unpolarized light falls on a polarizer, what will be the intensity of the transmitted light? It will be equal to I0 divided by 2. Now the light which comes out of this polarizer will be polarized. It will be plane polarized because only that component of electric field is allowed to pass through which is parallel to the transmission axis. So every electric field in the unpolarized light, it can be divided into two components. One will be the X component and another will be the Y component. Now one will be parallel to the transmission axis and another component will be perpendicular to the transmission axis. So only that component of the electric field will be allowed to pass through which will be parallel to the transmission axis. So all these electric fields in the case of unpolarized light, they can be resolved into two perpendicular components. One will be parallel to transmission axis and another will be perpendicular. So the perpendicular component will be completely blocked by the polarizer and only that component will be allowed to pass through which is parallel to the transmission axis. So the resultant light which we get will be plane polarized and its vibrations will be parallel to the transmission axis and its intensity will be equal to I0 divided by 2, and this we have already done, that when unpolarized light falls on a polarizer, the intensity of the transmitted light is I0 divided by 2. Now this light, this transmitted light is again made to fall on the second polarizer and we are asked to find the intensity of the light which is transmitted in this case. So intensity of this light is equal to I0 divided by 2. This is the maximum intensity. I0 divided by 2 is the maximum intensity that can be passed through this polarizer. But we are given that this polarizer makes an angle of 45 degree. It makes an angle of 45 degree with the transmission axis of the first polarizer. So this angle is given as 45 degree. Now this vibration is parallel to this transmission axis. This vibration is parallel to this perpendicular line which we have drawn. But in this case, polarizer, in this case, only that component will be allowed to pass through which is parallel to the transmission axis. Now this polarizer has the transmission axis which is aligned at 45 degree. This is the transmission axis of the second polarizer. So only that component will be allowed to pass through which will be parallel to the transmission axis. So we will use Malus law over here. Now Malus law states that intensity of the transmitted light is equal to I0 into cos square theta. Theta is fixed. Theta is given as 45 degree. And I0 was the maximum intensity of the light that can pass through. In the Malus law, this I0 is the maximum intensity that can be taken by the transmitted light. But in this case, the initial intensity is I0 divided by 2. So maximum intensity can be just I0 divided by 2. It can never be more than I0 divided by 2. So in this case, the intensity of the incident light is I0 divided by 2, and when we used Malus law, when we discussed Malus law, I0 was the intensity of the incident light, but over here I0 divided by 2 is the intensity of the incident light. So instead of I0 we will have I0 divided by 2 because it is the maximum intensity that can be transmitted through this polarizer.
But what will be the intensity? Now when the 45-degree angle is made by the transmission axis with the electric field vibrations. So the transmitted light will have intensity which is equal to maximum intensity, that is I0 divided by 2 into cos square theta. So into cos square of 45 degree. So you can solve this. So this will be equal to I0 divided by 2 into what is cos 45 degree? It is equal to 1 by root 2. So cos square 45 degree will be equal to 1 by 2. So it will be I0 divided by 4. So this is the intensity of the transmitted light after the second polarizer. So intensity will reduce. It will become 1/4 of I0. I0 was the initial intensity over here. So the final intensity of the light will be quarter of the initial intensity. And what will the light look like? What will be the vibrations? They will look like they will be aligned along the transmission axis. So the plane polarized light will look something like this. This is the resultant light which is coming out of the second polarizer.